I got a message today that there's a Limpkin on the Grand River. So guess what? I took off from work. A friend offered a kayak in close proximity to where the Limpkin is being seen, and I'm on a bird chase. Wish me luck.
The Limpkin was located approximately 2 miles from my launching spot on Potawatomi Bayou. I planned to paddle under the bridge, across the Grand River Channel, and then take a shortcut across Dermo Island to access Indian Channel on my way to see the bird.
So, turns out I have a leaky boat. I just barely made it across the river here from that bridge before water started to rush into the back end here through that little plug at the end. Okay, so I got in this borrowed kayak and came up Potawatomi Bayou, went under the bridge into the Grand River, and about a third of the way across the channel to the other side of the river, I noticed that the front end of my kayak was sticking up a little higher than before, and that there was a little water splashing at my knees in my boat. And so I leaned forward like this, and the water from the back of the boat rushed up to my legs, and suddenly I realized I'm sinking. And sure enough, I turned around, and this little hole that I've got plugged up now was open and taking on water. I about panicked and started to paddle faster than my body otherwise would have let me, and trying to get to the other side of the channel before I sank. The boat was rapidly sinking, and I was to the point of utter exhaustion and fatigue, like I was gonna heave. Let's just put it that way. Finally, I pulled up and flopped out of the boat onto dry ground, not having sunk entirely, but partially. And I made it. My rear end got wet, but I made it before we sank. I proceeded to empty the boat of water after I rested for a few moments and got my wits about me. Then I remembered that I had something. For whatever reason, I thought I'd put this little package that was in my car, a little bubble wrap, in my boat for maybe protecting my phone or something. I didn't know. I just grabbed it and threw it in. And now, guess what? I'm going to stuff this into that hole and see if I can't make this thing float a little better now and stay a little drier. Let's see how that works. Now, I plugged it. It's floating like a bobber.
So I optimistically continued to paddle toward the shortcut across Dermo Island.
I've decided to shortcut it across this little island. It might cut a little bit of time off of it and keep me out of the water, so I have less chance of sinking. Maybe that wasn't such a good idea. It's only mud here and not water. I think I'm making a bad thing worse. Will this bird be worth the effort? We'll see.
I hadn't realized the map I had been looking at was of high water levels. The actual water levels were much lower, exposing much more of the marsh. I therefore had to reroute myself around the tip of Dermo Island to get to the Limpkin.
Currently on scene, but the bird is currently unseen. So we'll give it some time, see if it pokes out from the jungle of arrowweed that it's hiding in.
Suddenly, the Limpkin took flight from the middle of the vegetation, flew across the channel, and landed in the middle of these dead trees. The group of Limpkin searchers quickly paddled over to see if the bird could be relocated where it last disappeared into the dead trees. Sure enough, we relocated the bird where it had last disappeared. It was comfortably preening itself deep within the dead branches. Eventually, it climbed up and out into the open for extraordinary views. In North America, the range of the Limpkin is exclusive to Florida, where it feeds on the Florida apple snail. With the introduction of a couple of invasive apple snail species, the range of the Limpkin has expanded somewhat in the south. By contrast, this year is for the record books, as individuals have shown up all across the South and Midwest. It is unknown as to why this dispersal has occurred.
I made it here, and I saw
What
that
did you
Limpkin.
see? You saw a Limpkin?
I saw the Limpkin. First state record Limpkin. It was worth all the effort. Worth the effort, worth the story, the adventure that I will not forget.
Due to the inaccessibility of the bird, many birders had to depend on other birders with boats to shuttle them to see the bird, or by borrowing kayaks or even renting a pontoon boat. And Cindy continued to lend out my sinking kayak to many other birders who sought to see the Limpkin.
Hey Cindy, thank you so much for the use of your sinking kayak.
Anytime you want a boat full of water, I'm your gal.
It's better than no boat at all, because I would have never swam out here. So I made it. I'm happy. Now it's time to turn around and go back to work. So my little patch job worked, because I made it back to Cindy's launch pad here after a successful trip. So yay! Congrats, guys. Congrats, we did it. And dog is already sitting in the shade up there. But it's been an epic day. So I got a little muddy and wet on the way, as you can see. It'll be fun having to return to work like this, smelly like swamp mud and wet, but it's only one day, and it's only for a little while, and it was so worth getting the Limpkin. Thank you, Cindy. She has a wonderful little tiki bar here. So we got done kayaking. It's time to have a refreshing drink and rehydrate after a long experience on the Grand River in a kayak, in a sinking kayak. A hard-earned bird. There you go. That's it. Hard-earned bird. Got Lonnie over here too.
I like birds.
Well said.